My name is Ali Kazim Nakhid, and I'm a professional football player from Trinidad and Tobago, and this is my story.
All right, so I have Ali Kazim Nakhid, potential player for Trinidad and Tobago, and he graciously allowed me to do an interview with him today. I know the time difference is actually about 9 hours, so where I am at is currently midday, and I know it's 9 p.m. for you, so I really appreciate that you gave me the opportunity to get this video. Um, I would like to start just asking you to tell a little bit of yourself, who you are, that kind of thing, in case people aren't aware who your dad is and that kind of thing also. So, Ali.
Cool. Well, first of all, thanks for having me. It's a pleasure, and time difference isn't a problem. Just got out of training, so I'll be up for a while.
Nice.
I'm Ali Kazim Nakhid. My dad is David Nakhid, as some people in the football world and maybe political world now might
Yeah.
know him as Senator Nakhid now. Former Trinidad and Tobago captain, played many years abroad, Europe, Champions League, several clubs in the Middle East as well. And I mean, now I'm a professional footballer as well myself.
Yeah.
I was a student athlete just like he was at one point, and it was always the goal to play professional football. And by God's grace, now I'm very thankful for where I am as a footballer.
Nice, nice. Thanks very much for introducing yourself and reconnecting people to the Naked family because many people may not have heard for a while in the footballing arena. Um, so let's get into it a little bit because I have a couple of questions that I know I would have sent to you, so we could start with that. What is your
Cool, cool.
strongest attribute, you think, as a player?
Strongest attribute I would say is creativity. I think I I put that very high up on my attributes. I think I'm a very creative player. I've played as a defensive midfielder most of my life. More recently, playing as a left centre back. Being left-footed, it's rare to find left-footed centre backs that can play out the back. But I think regardless of that, I've just been very creative throughout my game. My technical ability definitely allows me or gives me that space to be creative. I
Hmm.
think I think being limited technically can limit your creativity, because you might see something, but might not be able to execute it. But I've been working on my technical ability since a very young age, the fundamentals, the basics, and with that, you can continue to build. And through that, I mean, yeah, the creativity maybe comes from watching footballers and watching a lot of football, a lot of time with myself, imagining things to do on the ball, off the ball,
Right.
different situations. So been able to really hone that skill, and I think creativity is something that maybe not just myself, I would say that, but maybe when people watch, they would say he's a creative player.
Nice, nice, nice. Yeah, I mean, I grew up watching your dad midfielder. He would see everything. He would make crosses like how in my mind I would be like, how did he even see that player? So yeah, yeah, yeah. I could understand where that creativity could come from,
Yeah,
right?
comes from him. Then I would say.
Yeah. So Trinidad and Tobago recently have been playing 4-4-2. Some cases we did 4-5-1 under the new coach Dwight York. I saw that he actually started I think recently his last two games were 3-5-2. Well obviously the wingers doing doing a lot of work up and down the wings. What is your preferred formation in games?
Um, yeah, I actually watched the past couple of games against Jamaica, and I mean I have some friends on that team as well, and I remember a lot of media saying these are players on the outskirts of the national team, and I mean I think it's very unfair to the players that are being called up. Obviously, they're being called up for a reason, and
Yeah.
I just wanted to say that I give a lot of props to the players that have made it to that national team. I think it's a little unfair to say that they're third string, and that's word for word. People saying that they're third string national team players, and I don't think that's fair. Because at the end of the day, that these are the players that will make your team. And I think to bring it back to your question, I think the formation really depends on the players that you have. So I think it's very limiting for a coach to come in with an idea of how he wants to play and maybe force his players to play a certain way. So I think the formation really depends on your players' abilities. When you play with a 3-5-2, I mean I've played in teams where we played a 3-5-2, and I think a 3-5-2 requires a very specific set of players, especially your wing backs. They have to
Hmm.
do an unreal amount of work, and they have to be very creative players. They have to have both sides of the ball, and
Yeah.
yeah, it's a special formation, but it's one that I like a lot because it allows gives your center backs some freedom to press a bit higher, to get on the ball more. As a six, naturally, I mean, I like the 4-3-3, especially if I'm able to play as a lone as a lone six. Deep lying playmaker is what I like to say I would like to play as, because I could drop, get the ball, create some chances,
Hmm.
being deep. So that's just my personal take on it
Okay.
as a 4-3-3. But also, yeah, it just really depends on the set of players you have.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I've heard the the comments also that it's just a local based team and we were playing. Now the coach actually said that. To be fair, the coach actually said that himself, that he is looking to add a couple players to his team. So these were players that they were given trials. But I mean, I understand exactly what you're saying. To make it to that level definitely means that there's something about you. So I agree with that.
Right, right, for sure.
So you said that you have friends on the national team right now. So I know you and Josiah Trimingham seem to be pretty close. I kind of follow you all on social media, and I realize that you all know each other. Um, have you spoken to the coach or spoken to anybody on the team about getting onto the team?
I mean, yeah, definitely. Me and Josiah have shout out to Big Trim. That's my big bro.
Yeah.
I got the pleasure of meeting him in Trinidad a couple of years ago. I was there just staying fit, visiting, training, and he had just come back from the U.S. and amazing player, even better man. He's big and he's scary to play against, but great guy, really great guy.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, I've definitely spoken with him, asked him about his experience playing and what he thinks is the best way. And he's always offered his support in that sense, and told me that he'd love to see me at some point. And so yeah, we've spoken on that many times.
Right.
Since we have that relationship. And in terms of staff and speaking to me and all that, I mean, obviously that would have to stay a little bit confidential in terms of just out of respect for them,
Yeah.
and just because it's how it is with with national teams.
Yeah.
So until God willing, the official call up comes up, I can just work hard and work on my career, my
Yeah.
club career, and see and wait for that phone call.
Nice. 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 Um, and again, it's all about knowing someone on the team and being around them and understanding them. So yeah, I appreciate that. Um, Other than your dad, because I'm assuming that might be the first person you say, is there someone that you looked up to in football? Even now, is there someone that you look up to?
From Trinidad or just in general?
Well, both, both.
From Trinidad, I mean, you have so many players. You have Russell Latapi, you have Span. I used to. that Ronaldinho move, I grew up knowing that was the span, you know.
Span
So,
move, right?
s
Yeah.
yeah, the span move, you know, definitely Uncle Ansel Elcock and um, Uncle Shaka Hislop. You know, like I say Uncle because you know I have that relationship with them. But
Right,
yeah,
right,
I
right.
mean Uncle Shaka is a goalkeeper, but still, you know, his career and what he's done, Uncle Ansel on an international level and club level, uh, and being able to meet them in person and even have a sweat with them in Trinidad, you know. So those are people from Trinidad that I've looked up to and I've had the
Right.
pleasure of meeting. Um, yeah, some players from Santos and you know locally people that I've met and I've watched play when I've visited. Then of course, I mean Coach Dwight, his illustrious career in England and
Yeah.
internationally. It's something, of course, is very commendable, and I've always looked up to his career. And you have even before my dad, it was Ian Bain going to Howard and playing internationally. You know, it's he mentored me throughout most of my college career and still does to this day. Is still also a very similar build to myself, very tall, in the middle, very demanding. So that's what I can think of in Trinidad. And then
Yeah.
internationally, I mean, Zidane has always been a major influence on my game. His creativity, his first
Yeah.
touch, technical ability is something that I've always tried to copy or to duplicate in my own game. And then the only person really that I've had pictures up in my room was Socrates from Brazil, 1982 national
Right.
team.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very similar technical ability. Well, not to say I have his technical ability, but in terms of some things, the back heels, his uh, his height, you know, his strides when he's on the ball, winning the ball. You know, I saw a lot of myself in his play, which is, I mean, I think that that type of deep, deep lying playmaker is something you don't see in football much anymore. But it's
Right.
something that I can would still like to do and try to mimic that in my own game. So I would say definitely those players.
I mean, Socrates is probably even past my age, so I've heard and I've seen little videos, but definitely, I mean, Zidane. Once you're talking creativity, and he said that was one of your
Mm,
biggest traits. Obviously, Zizou is one of the first names that anybody would go to, right?
definitely.
Um, so give a little bit of your journey to where you are now. So for like younger players watching, let them understand who Ali Kazim really is and where he came from.
Okay. I mean, my mother's Lebanese, so I grew up in Lebanon most of my life. I was
Right.
born here in the UAE, where I'm currently playing again because my dad was playing here at the time. But
Mhm.
immediately moved back to Beirut, Lebanon, and that's where I built my game. You know, Lebanon was a amazing place to grow up, and it still is. You know,
Mhm.
despite everything you hear about the Middle East and the instability and all that, that's just it's just noise. You know, I mean, a lot of it is true, but it's really a great place to grow up. The football there is amazing. The people are amazing. The environment is incomparable.
Mhm.
And yeah, I grew up in my dad's academy at first. Well, before he founded our academy in 2006, it was just me and him. You know, one on one playing, working on the basics, the fundamentals of football. We used to go up on our roof of our apartment, and it was like a four-story building, and we
Yeah.
used to have like a little space. And I used to go and I remember he used to put trash bags down and he would tell me to visualize dribbling in between that and left foot only, right foot only, both feet, little things like that until he founded his academy in 2006. And then that's where I continued most of my youth career. So just playing in his academy, um, competing locally and internationally in some big tournaments like the MIC in Barcelona, the Milan Cup, Como Cup, some big tournaments, you know, where you have players like Neymar when they're younger played, the La Masia
Yeah.
products all played. So that's where I've spent most of my career. really
Mm.
until I was about 16,
Right.
16, 17. And then, yeah, I graduated from high school pretty early. And then I took a gap year, decided to take a gap year. And I went to Belgium first and trained with a team in the second division at the time
Mm.
called Patroisden Maasmechelen. And then, I mean, they're always in and out of the Jupiler Pro League. So it was
Mm.
a very good team. And that's where I was able to kind of see my level compared to Europe, where that's the highest level of football there is. And I
Yeah.
saw that I lacked maybe athletic ability and intensity, but I saw that my technical ability could hold up really anywhere.
Yeah.
And that's why I knew that I had to do some serious work on my own. And so spent some time there. Then went to Sweden to continue my gap year. Played also in the third division with the team until it was time to go to the US for
Right.
college soccer, they call it. So really just following in the footsteps of my dad and my brother before me, who also did the same thing.
Hmm.
And then I went to a Division One program in Maryland called UMBC, and I played there for 2 years. Wasn't really happy with the situation there, and then and then COVID hit, and a bunch of things kind of all piled up at the same time. So I decided to transfer to Division Three, and then with COVID happening, I had to come here to the UAE, where I was able to sign my first professional professional contract with a team in the second division here in the UAE, called Forsan España, which was it was the inaugural year for Mitchell Salgado, Real Madrid's iconic number 4.
Yeah.
Is it number 4 or was it number 3? Can't
I think
remember.
it's.
But
I think it's. Yeah.
it was 4, wasn't it? Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, a legend, the Galacticos. And it was his first year having this club, and I was able to play with players like Inaki Benny, who was at Real Madrid Academy for a long time and is still in the Pro League here. So I played my first professional year there, and that's where really I was able to work on defensive attributes as a left-footed center back, and played in different positions there. And then I went back to Division Three soccer in America. Um, I played there, was able to work on a lot of things that gave me that space to, with maybe less pressure than it being a Division One soccer program. I
Yeah.
was able to work on a lot of things that I wanted to work on. And to anybody that says Division Three is nothing compared to Division One and all that nonsense, at the end of the day, it's all smoke and mirrors. It's all titles. I've played against some programs in Division Three that are better than some professional teams around the world. It really
Right.
depends on the players and the culture and the coaches. And I went to a very good Division Three program called Goucher College in Baltimore, Maryland,
Mm.
closer to Towson. And yeah, I mean, I really owe a lot of my game to being able to play there under a really good coach, Brian Lott, and a lot of the players there allowed me to kind of work on that creative part of me. And after the 2 years there, I graduated as a All American,
Yeah.
and it was a really great. It was a really great honor to get, because it kind of epitomized my career and struggles as a college soccer player. And
Hmm.
then, yeah, I mean, after that, just had one more year of eligibility. I went to Thomas More University in Kentucky and played my master's. Did my master's there and played my last year of eligibility.
Okay.
So yeah, a little long-winded, but
That's
yeah,
good. That's good.
I was in America for a while, and then from that, I was able to then go on to the U.S. Open Cup, which is a really a great honor with Duluth FC from Minnesota, and
Right.
kind of get some eyes on me there in North America. So it was really it was a great experience. So yeah, after that it was professional football. I went to Spain over the summer, trialed with some teams, and then got the call to come here and sign with Gulf United. And yeah, I mean, we parted ways this winter transfer window,
Mm.
but yeah, that's really my professional and non-professional career.
Yeah, it sounds like you're definitely well traveled, and you've seen a lot
Mm,
of different styles and cultures of football for sure. So
mm,
I know you recently signed with a new club. How has that been
yeah.
going?
Yeah, I mean, it was really a great opportunity that I couldn't let go. It was the last day of a transfer deadline,
Hmm.
and I mean, I got the call, and it's a big club here in Ras Al Khaimah in the UAE. It's where my parents lived when I was born, and yeah, I mean, it's really a great honor to be with a club, an Emirati club, with a lot of history, a lot of backing, a lot of support, a lot of culture, and yeah, it's been great. It's 2 weeks in now. Definitely a new dynamic with the players in the locker room.
Yeah.
It's a different culture, a different mindset, but it's one that's very professional, and it's one that I've been looking to get into ever since I moved here to the UAE. So it's definitely a decision that I'm very happy and grateful about.
Right.
And yeah, I thank God for that because I mean, I wasn't really looking for a move. Um, I had some things I was working on within my own club, but I think the games that I played at Gulf United and it got people talking a little bit, and being able to, even last year when I came here for a few months and I trained with Emirates Club at the time, had Iniesta, Paco Alcacer, um,
Okay.
I had Leo Osaki, some big names.
Yeah.
I had some big names. I think that left a lasting impression on some people, some administrators here
Hmm.
in this city, and then also a little bit in the UAE. So that was a great experience, and yeah, it's really all about impressions. As a
Yeah. Yeah.
footballer now these days, you have a day, half a day, maybe one pass, and you either leave a good impression or you leave a bad taste in people's mouths. And I'm grateful
Right.
to have made good impressions where I've gone. It's very humbling, and it's very yeah, it's very gratifying to have players come up to you and ask you like, oh, like where are you from? You have some Brazilian players that have been playing here for years, and they come and ask you, and they're like, oh, where are you from? Because you look, maybe I look Emirati or I look Arab, and
Right.
but
Right.
then they hear the accent, and so it's something that I'm very grateful for, to be able to leave a good impression with players from all over the world, and so much so that I was able to make a transfer move so early in my career to a bigger club.
Right. Yeah. 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 I mean, it's always good when you get that opportunity to talk to other people and share a little bit of your story, which I guess
Mhm.
which is what we're trying to do here. Just kind of get people to know a little bit more of who you are. So, how has training been going so far? I have here a specific question. What's a typical training day like, and how do you recover? What's your method of recovery?
Yeah, my training day starts really early. For me personally, I get up in the morning. I mean, I'm not a big sleeper. I'm maybe 8 hours at most. So I'll get up around 8 a.m.
Right.
Have something small to eat. I'll go lift weights. That's my routine. I'll
Okay.
go lift some weights. Yeah, I'll go lift some weights or do some mobility. Just work on things that maybe I wouldn't get time as much to do after training.
Hmm.
So I'll go lift some weights, work on things that I want to work on individually, and then yeah, come back home, rest up, take some supplements, eat, sleep, maybe a little bit before my evening session with the team. So we
Right.
train here in the evening. Obviously, geographically, it's very hot during the day, so we'll train in the evening.
Hmm.
And yeah, this coaching staff that I'm with now, some big names. You have Mehdavikia, who was 1998 World Cup with Iran. He
Okay.
scored that iconic goal against the USA in 1998 when they beat the US 2-0.
Right.
Um, legend at Hamburg in Germany. So yeah, a lot to learn from him. So I like that. Maybe a little different from my other club is, as soon as you step on the field, it's all with the ball. At the end of the day, we're football players, so you need to get as much time on the ball as you can. So
Yeah.
we'll do a passing drill, some passing patterns, do some stretches in between, and then as you get warmer, it'll go into a
Mm-hmm.
possession drill, and then with maybe some variations, some restrictions to work on your technical ability, to work on you finding different solutions as you would in a game.
Yeah.
Excuse me, and yeah, from that then you'll go into a small-sided game, maybe 11 against 11, or you might go 7 against 7, just depending on numbers or depending on what the coach wants to work on.
Right.
And then if it's a pre-game day, then we'll do set pieces, which are really make it or break it in football today. You know,
Yes.
you see teams, it's massive with Arsenal. It makes a big difference either defensively or offensively. So
Mm-hmm.
we'll do that if it's before a game. And then just like now to recover, I think my supplements play a massive role.
Mm-hmm.
Not to say or not to tell players to depend on supplements, but you have to understand your body, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Um, so now that I'm playing professional football doesn't mean that my attention to my body started now. It started whenever I decided I wanted to be a footballer. So I know what works for me and what
Mm-hmm.
doesn't work for me. I know
Right.
players that maybe don't use any supplements or they don't take anything, but I know from my body, I might need some more magnesium, I might need more electrolytes, some zinc, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe creatine if I'm lifting weights. So that or a protein shake. So I might finish training, get a protein shake, take some electrolytes, have a small dinner. I don't like to have a heavy dinner after training,
Right.
and then yeah, just maybe drink some hot tea or something, and then I'll just head to bed. Which honestly, bed rest is maybe the best thing for a footballer. Is getting good sleep.
Right.
And yeah, you have all these things, resources now to help you track that, or at least help you get the discipline. So you have a Whoop, you have a Fitbit, you have Apple Watch, whatever. It's
Yeah.
either if it's something that you feel is worth the cost, then I would say it's worth it. If it just helps you get in the discipline of it, and then once you understand your body, then you don't need to use it anymore. It's something that I use, so I think that's very important for my recovery. And yeah, a lot of meditation as well. So I'm someone that's very close to my religion, so I pray, and that's something I feel like is important for me with my recovery because a lot of it
Yeah.
is up here rather than just physical.
Right. Right.
So praying, meditating, talking to God, and then family. Family is probably my biggest relief. Get spending some time with family and loved ones. I
Mm-hmm.
think that's very important. Is maybe at least a day in the week away from football.
Yeah.
As a footballer, you're never out of the football, but maybe give yourself that grace and just maybe forget about it for a day. Go touch grass, as they say, or just go breathe.
Yeah. 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 So I'm kind of looking at my questions, and based on the conversations, I kind of realized that we covered pretty much everything that I wanted to ask. Um, do you think that there's anything else like last minute that you would want to say to somebody who's looking at this young footballer and inspired watching this video, being inspired by you? What would you like to tell them as a closeout?
Wow, there's so much advice you can give to young footballers, either in Trinidad or outside of Trinidad.
Yeah.
But I mean, one that keeps me going a lot is football like life. It's not a sprint. It's a marathon. So
Right.
it's not how fast you start or how fast you're going. It's especially when you look at other players and now with social media and all the hype around social media and players coming up, and you think it happens overnight, and you think like there's this rapid rise to fame or rapid rise to this and that. It's really all just optics. It's everybody has their own journey, everybody has their own process. Everybody has their own set of skills and talents. Not everybody's Messi. Messi himself said, I became an overnight sensation in the span of 17 years. So for him, somebody like him to say that, so who
Right.
are who's the average footballer, that needs to work hard and needs to work on the basics and every day, So it's a lot of hard work, which is probably such a overused term, but I mean it's something that you can never go wrong by, is working on the basics, taking
Yeah.
it day by day, understanding that your journey is really just true to you, and everybody has a different journey. I think one of the questions that I'd seen was, what's one of the hardest times or hardest parts of my life as a footballer, and I
Yeah.
think yeah, and I think that one for me would be when I left the Division 1 program to go to Division 3, and I made that decision entirely on my own.
Right.
And it's like, okay, if I want to be a professional footballer, I want to play at the highest level of football in the world, then how would it be that I'm choosing to go to the lowest level of college football? So it's like being an amateur and an amateur within an amateur. When
Right.
people
Right.
say Division 3 soccer, they think that's like the lowest level of football you could be at anywhere in the world. And that's simply not true, because as a professional, you're a professional anytime. I always saw myself as a professional.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
because it's how I treat the game, how I treat myself, and what I see myself as to be.
Hmm.
So you need to always treat yourself as a professional. That doesn't mean how many posts you do on Instagram. Doesn't mean what you're wearing
Yeah.
and how you're talking to people. It's the recovery that you do. It's the attention you give on the field, going into every training session um, as if really it's a final or it's a game. Because to perform on the day of, you need to have done all the work before.
Yeah.
So I would that's what I would say to anybody is take it day by day, and don't worry about, just it's really not where you start, it's where you finish. So
Yeah.
take it day by day, and then all of that, it will accumulate, and then when you reach that point, you'll be ready. It's not like an opportunity comes by and then you say, okay, now I'm going to get ready. No, you have to be ready, because the
Yes.
same the same time that you're going all these days without a professional contractor, you're going all these days working hard, and you're saying an opportunity isn't coming by, the same way all those days came by with no opportunities. It only makes sense that an opportunity will come by at some point,
True.
and
True.
you have to be ready. It's not, it can't come by and then you say, oh, I've been waiting for this, but I wasn't ready. Like I'm going to do the work. You can't. You
Yeah.
just always have to be ready for it. So that's the most I can say about that.
No, that's quite a lot. That's quite a lot that you said, and that even just to close off was pretty inspirational to anybody who would be listening to it. So
Thank you.
again, I know the difference in time, and I spoke about what we're doing and where I'm at right now and that kind of thing. So
Yeah.
I really just want to thank you for your time. Thank you for allowing me to spend this
Thank
time with
you.
you and to get some of your journey. What I try to tell people is I really hope that these videos reach the right persons, young players, so it could really inspire them coming up and they could make moves and they could do big things. And honestly, definitely we want to see you play for the national team. So
God willing.
I'm hoping that that call is coming soon. I know the coach recently said that he's looking at players in Europe and that kind of thing. So I'm hoping sooner rather than later that we see you
Likewise.
fellas.
God's
So
timing. Yeah. God's
true,
timing.
true, true,
For sure.
true. So thank you very much once again, and do enjoy the rest of the evening.
Thank you, Marcus. It was a pleasure being here, and I'm looking forward. I'm sure this won't be the first and last of our conversations, and all the best with everything that you have and that you're doing. God
Thank
bless.
you. Yeah, man. You
Thank
too.
you.
Bye.
Bye.